What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about my number one suspect to be Ghostface in Scream 6. Now, there's the discussion to be had if there's 1, 2, 3, cult, that kind of stuff. But specifically talking about, let's just identify one. Let's just try to get one down. I really think it could be Henry Czerny's character in this movie. Now, Jack Champion's character of Ethan definitely sets off some alarms. We'll talk about him in a separate video. I think it could be a tag team, kind of a duo of those two. We'll see. But I think Henry Czerny, at the very least, his character and him as a person has been excluded from everything. Now, it's not all that much different, although it actually is still a little bit different, than what they did with Vince in the last one, right? So Vince as a character, they never said, his last name up until, I believe, like a month before the movie came out. It was so secretive. We got like the 1 or 2 shots of him, right? Always by the car when, he's kind of stalking Liv and all that. And that was kind of it, right? You see him in the trailer. Definitely looks like he dies in the trailer. And then it's like, well, that can't be the only thing that he's in the movie. Then as the movie got closer, it's like, well, maybe that is actually it. And then the movie came out and yeah, he's not really in at all. So the reason why he's just not really, or he wasn't included in any of the marketing, I would say overall, for 5, is because his role was about as pointless as it can come, right? It was only then to connect to Mocker. It was only to connect to Stu in some very tiny way, right? That was it. That was the whole purpose of him being in the movie. So for this one, though, would they do the same thing twice, right? Is Henry Czerny, and this is different because he's not in any posters. He's not in any marketing. Vince was in some of it, right? Henry Czerny, none. 0. Okay? They're pretending like he doesn't exist. In fact, even when they did that Guess Who Twitter post, right, where all the faces are faced up and it's got everybody's name, they're missing him. He's not on there. Now, there's a couple other characters, by the way, they're missing, but Henry Czerny seems the most prominent generally of, like, if you're comparing him to the rest. From behind-the-scenes stuff, it certainly seems like, and I think it's fair to say the fandom, right, the group has kind of agreed, he's most likely going to be Sam's therapist, somebody that she'll be, talking to. Not throughout. We don't know if it's going to be throughout the movie, at least 1 or 2 times, right? So again, the question is he going to be literally a throwaway role? Is he the one, by the way, that Sam talks about that darkness in her that followed her here, right? When she has that line, we've heard that in the trailer. We've also heard that in some TV spots as well, right? That's followed me here, that kind of stuff. Is she talking, because you look at her outfit, she could be talking to Josh Segura's character of Danny. She could also be talking to Henry Czerny. And the shirt that she's wearing there, that was the same shirt that was spotted when you saw her walking out, behind the scenes stuff, her walking with Henry Czerny, and he's holding like a briefcase. So, and he's kind of dressed up as a professional. So I think it is fair to say he is going to be some sort of, person that's trying to help her. Well, doesn't that make him, because here's the thing, right? You think about the whole Tara angle. We've gone down that angle of, like, could Tara actually be a mastermind or a ghost face? And one of the things that stands out, even though I don't believe that theory, we've talked about it, though, one of the things that stands out is, well, she would know Sam's, like, things. She would know all about her. She would know about the secrets, because it's not really secret anymore because of 5, but who else would know? Well, to be honest with you, not many people. You'd have to catch, like, Mindy and Chad, I guess, have relatively been caught up to speed, but all these new characters, they don't know unless Sam has told them, but you would think Sam would be very reserved with that information. But who wouldn't you be reserved for? Well, if you're trying to help yourself and you're trying to talk to a professional, and that professional is Henry Czerny's character, what do you think could happen there? Now, would you still be reserved? Would you still not say everything? Yeah, probably. And maybe there's a scene there, in Scream 6. But if there's one other character that would be let in on that's new, that has nothing to do with, like, this core, if there's one character that would be let in to Sam's personal life, and we know the movie's going to connect to her, she's the star, she's the main thing, well, wouldn't her therapist or, somebody like that, wouldn't that be the person to do it? So I think the way he'd be able to get knowledge very just casually, right? It wouldn't set off any flags for Sam. Like, the person knows, or Henry Czerny would know, and then Ghostface would then know. So that would all work. And then I would say that's one piece of evidence if you kind of just look at their characters and how things could go down that road. And then you mix it with that secrecy side, right? That they're treating him how they treated Vince in the last movie, but they're actually doing it worse. Because if you didn't know, if you weren't keeping track back in, June, July, if you weren't keeping track of casting of like smaller characters, we're not talking about, Hayden Panettiere comes back. We're not even talking about, or Courtney Cox is locked in, or the Neve Campbell stuff. We're talking about something that was pretty small. If you didn't know, if you didn't see the picture, which I also can't find literally anywhere, by the way, you'd have to kind of go back to other people's videos. If you didn't see those things, those two things, you would probably not even know at this point that Henry Czerny is in the movie. And then the last step, and this is something that it's interesting, it's fun, but it's also going to be really weird to see how it works in the movie. And I'll try to walk you through it. Because at this point, where we're at with this guy, okay, is if we go into the movie and he sticks around, I think he's Ghostface like 1,000%. And I guess what I mean by that is like if he doesn't have a quick Vince-like death, if he isn't completely meaningless to the story, I think he's 1,000% Ghostface. Because I then have to take into account that they've hid him this entire time. And there's something odd about that. And his character, he would know Sam, right? So if you just combine those two things, and again, you won't really know that until the movie comes out. He's not in any TV spots. He's not in any trailers. When the movie starts, if he has a scene, let's say in the first 10, 15 minutes, and that's it, but then he kind of goes away. Well, that sounds like a Debbie Salt thing, doesn't it? I mean, to be flat out honest with you, that seems like Debbie Salt, where you're going to see him 2, 3, 4 times, maybe even one time in the movie. He'll go away, but I would then think he's Ghostface, like 1,000%. If he dies immediately, you know what I mean? Or they get rid of, really, I'm trying to think like, well, can you do anything but kill him off? Not really. You can't send him anywhere, because if you send him somewhere, where you'll still have that kind of wonder of, could he come back? Unless he's eliminated early on in the movie, I think he's Ghostface. There's actually not much that's going to change my mind on that. Now, there's negatives and positives to that, right? That we may be able to nail it down already. But yet again, we've done kind of detective work. But also, he probably shouldn't be the only Ghostface, right? And there's still a couple other candidates. Dermot Mulroney could be Ghostface. We don't know. And Detective Bailey, right, his character name. Jack Champion's character of Ethan. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's Danny, right? Like, it could be still... And depending on how many, is there 2 Ghostfaces? Is there 3? We also don't know necessarily if any of the main characters die. There's plenty of surprises, way more than there was for 5. But I just get the sense that something's very odd with his character. And again, if I had to predict, and if there's only 2 killers, I'm going Henry Czerny's character and then Ethan, Jack Champion's character. Those would be the 2 that I would kind of zero in on. We'll see what changes. I'll do like a final predictions as we get closer to the movie coming out, but that's what I would say right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.